Hi guys, it's Ryker CKN from Bloom Productions, and the latest Spider-Man trailer just dropped, so I thought it'd be the best time to break down the latest 3 Spider-Man trailers, just kind of catch you guys up, and also give you some things you might have missed, and might be some hints for what's in the movie. So, with trailer 2, we hear a voice, and it's overplayed with a few camera shots. Kind of, you can see it's kind of like what it looks like to be a lizard. Now this voice could maybe be Kirk Connors, but I think the important thing is that they also brought up some things about responsibility, and I think this is going to tie in a lot into what's the main point of the movie.
Have you ever aspired to be something greater? Something that makes you more than just a man? Of course, in order to obtain such power, you will have to accept all of the responsibility and what comes with it.
Since, after the whole reactor explosion, Michael's going to have to take up a lot of responsibility for himself and his actions. And in the next scene after that, we see some flashbacks to the first film, which maybe hints to like some past characters returning, maybe even some type of like more scenes of the past, maybe before the first film, or even between the gap of the first and second film. And then after that, we see what could be Michael, but it seems to be someone jumping or getting ready to jump off. And this, like I brought up earlier, could be one of those past scenes, like an added past scene. So maybe this is like an additional thing to the past, maybe something before the third movie. Maybe set during it, but I feel like looking at how this is and who we're in and how the suit is, it probably is before. If it is Michael, it probably is before. Or maybe since there seems to be some new enemies, maybe this is some type of to cover his identity, maybe. But after that, we see a biker gang who seems to be harassing somebody. Now, what I think and what I believe this biker gang is the Huns. So the Huns appeared in Captain America 259 back in July 1981. The kind of main aesthetic was like a kind of neo-Nazi type of thing. But they were set in New York, and looking at how the Huns look compared to these bikers, I believe it could be them. And why I think maybe they're even in this is maybe because maybe the Avengers will help Michael out. Let's try and maybe help him with the press he probably is gonna get with the whole explosion and probably the fat feedback and everything. So maybe this could be the introduction to that. But after that, we see some yellow lightning, some explosions. Kind of seems like it's the climax of something. also see a figure imbued with yellow energy. Now, I think it's pretty obvious it's Electro. It's whether up to us to decide or not if it's Max Dillon, though, since we haven't really heard any type of mention of that yet. And this also maybe could be effect of the explosion. So maybe Electro is getting some revenge or something. But yeah, it's up to us to decide or not if that's Max Dillon or not. But I think this is some type of revenge plot, and he got his powers from the explosion. So after that, we see that Michael is fighting this type of guy, has a hostage. That's later on. Now, looking at the knife of this guy, I believe heavily this could be Craven the Hunter, or Taskmaster. The reason I go to a Taskmaster is looking at how he was able to keep up with Spider-Man. It's not like any regular criminal or thief could do that, as he was able to dodge Michael's web pretty fast, and he was shooting them pretty fast as well. He also had enough strength to grab him and throw him over, so I think that maybe this is some type of like mercenary that's going after Michael because of what happened in the explosion, and maybe there's some like bounty on him. Maybe it's set up by J. Jonah Jameson or just set up by somebody unknown. Could maybe even be Oscorp. Maybe Norman Osborn. Who knows? But there is probably a reason why he is fighting this person. But I think that they are some type of mercenary or bounty hunter, and Michael is trying to deal with them. And I think now this is a reach. This is a reach. This is a real reach. So there's at one angle at 1:23, at a minute and 23 seconds, you can see the sign that says "When you wish upon a star." Now I feel like that Michael's gonna try and like maybe he is like hoping that this goes away or this stops, and through that, the star that comes is a new ally that helps Michael, or with the latest trailer um teasing the symbiotic well, the symbiote. Maybe that could be a metaphor for the star, and the wishing is and the wishing to leave Michael hoping that this goes away, and the symbiote comes in as that star to help him. But then we see Michael beat the guy. He's bleeding. He may or may not be knocked out. But at the end of it, we see Michael look back and we see a figure, a girl who I'm pretty sure is Mary Jane Watson. So, but that's the first trailer. That's what I got in the first trailer. But on to the second teaser trailer. So, we can see in the opening of it, it's a kind of a falling scene, maybe mimicking. I think it's mimicking the opening of the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Since the camera angles are basically the same. kind of in how the camera's shaped, where it's kind of a wide angle and it's focused on the back of Spider-Man. It's also kind of focusing on camera angles of Spider-Man falling. But yeah, we basically get a recreation of that scene. And then we see Michael kind of climbing a wall. It seems to be in a type of closed area. Kind of like somewhere where maybe like he could be trapped, trying to escape. I don't know who he'd be escaping from. Maybe the people who are chasing him. Since we may have at least 3 villains. We saw what might be the Lizard in the second trailer. We also saw Electro in the second trailer, or probably what is Electro, and we saw a third who may be Taskmaster or Kraven the Hunter. So looking at those 3, this could be the formation of a type of Sinister Six, and they're going after Michael as like a bounty thing, as I brought up earlier. Then we get a cut to Iron Man. Now, the first important thing about this is this is the first time we're seeing these type of other heroes. Like, a member of the Avengers, like, really seeing the Avengers, well, a member of the Avengers. Which makes me go back to the Ryker gang with the Huns and everything, and how, all that. So, you see him flying around. And I think he's probably flying to gain, maybe, Michael some help. Give him some help. Then we get a cut to a part of the city, which this seems, if you're looking closely enough, which I did, if you're looking closely enough, it is the Brooklyn. The Brooklyn Bridge. It's showcasing the Brooklyn Bridge, which I think maybe is where a big fight may take place. Maybe it is with Electro, is maybe that Electro scene, but that Electro scene kind of seems to be on like a top of a building, so maybe it starts at the Brooklyn Bridge and it leads over to there. This could also be maybe where Peter fights what could I say Peter, I'm so sorry. Oh my goodness. But where Michael fights what could be Venom in this movie, since the symbiote has been teased. But it could be Venom in this movie if he does appear. Now, it doesn't exactly have to be Eddie Brock, since there's been different Venoms, Harry Osborn and stuff like that. So it doesn't have to exactly be Eddie Brock. But I think that this area of the Brooklyn Bridge is showcased for a certain reason. So I'm thinking maybe it's gonna be some place that's like, maybe that is kind of a showcase for maybe where like a climax may take place. But we also see Michael like kind of swing past it kind of quickly. So who knows? Then we see. Now I'm focusing on this part because I haven't been focusing on the little flash forwards, kind of like the little text screens in them. But it says the decision between life and death. Now the previous one said, now we will see the ultimate consequence. Now what could that ultimate consequence be? Who knows what the ultimate consequence could be? Could it be that someone he cares about dies? Could it be that maybe he dies? Could it be that he fails again and he learns from that failure that he needs to grow up, that he needs to be a better hero? And then the decision between life and death. What is that decision between life and death? What decision does Michael have to make? That is that life or death moment. Could it be that he maybe does something that it puts the civilians in danger? Maybe it's something that goes with the Avengers. Maybe it's something that goes with his personal life. It's kind of a vague, but it also is kind of like telling a lot of things. So after that, we see some goggles, some red goggles, a broken one. It's one broken eye. I think both of them are broken. It's showing one broken eye. And it kind of seems to be like in a type of watery area. Now, I think, since it's going with a black and red scheme, I think this could belong to Miles Morales. And this could be the introduction of Miles into that. Maybe this will be kind of how, also going back to the wish when you wish upon a star, maybe this could be Michael is a star for Miles, because it doesn't per se, because that line doesn't per se have to really go to Michael. It can go to really anything, but there's just more and more things that are popping up that are showcasing that go back to that type of star, and you can identify a star as anything. You can identify that as a guiding, and usually that's what stars. I mean, art stars are. They're a guiding type of thing. So I think that when you wish upon a star, will be kind of a type of mentor metaphor, or a type of helping metaphor, since that's kind of what stars are. They help. You see kind of like this the sky, and they also kind of help you guide. They also form things. They form, alliteration, kind of some kind of like form creatures and type of stuff like that. So it could be that this is like P. Michael. My gosh, I am so bad at this, but I'm trying my best, guys. But Michael is like kind of forming Miles into a hero. So, on to the final and last trailer we have today, which is trailer 3. It's the most recent trailer. It just dropped today, only 50 minutes ago, at the time of recording. Probably when this gets out, it'll probably be like maybe a few hours ago. But, yeah. So, the first thing we see in the trailer is a... We see basically just Spider-Man looking down from beyond, and we see a cop car flash by. I feel, and I realize, and I think, and I really do think this is just maybe immediately or picks up after the explosion. It picks up maybe immediately after that. So maybe Michael is dealing with what happened, and you see these cop cars driving to the explosion area, and kind of just see this. And then we also see the goggles of Miles, and we also see the shirt of Miles again. But we have a new scene, and it is an extended of what we saw earlier in the last trailer, showcasing this Iron Man. But we see Iron Man flying, and this Iron Man looks like, looking at from his suit, it looks to be. Tell me if I'm wrong or not. It looks to be Mark 48. It seems to be Mark 48, which, if you can't tell which Mark 48 was in, it was in Civil War, and it was also in Infinity War. Actually, no. It was in Civil War. So, that could be Mark 48. I believe it is Mark 48. It has the exact same design pattern with the gold and the silver. So I think this is Mark 48, which also might hint maybe that this is time of, kind of maybe there's a split up between the Avengers, since obviously, the event Civil War. So maybe it's using that, and maybe this is why that there's this suit here, and maybe Tony is trying to recruit Michael to maybe join his side. Or this might also be the start of the Civil War, and that's why Tony is here. He's here to recruit Michael to get him a part of his side. And if if there is, if there is maybe a Civil War movie in this type of franchise, who knows how it may play out? It may play out more like the comics, where Spider-Man switches sides. He's obviously on Team Iron Man first, but then he switches to Team Captain America, having some differences with Tony. So I think maybe if this could be the beginning of a Civil War, I think maybe that Tony may be trying to recruit Michael, and I think he would obviously agree with Tony and what the Registration Act was, with heroes need some jurisdiction, because obviously the explosion that obviously that was Michael's fault. So I think he would want to he would believe in basically the same things that are being said in the Registration Act. So I think he would go Team Iron Man if this is the beginning of a Civil War, and And if it is, then whew, this that'll be great and that'll be epic. Um, so yeah, I'm wondering if it is. I'm hoping maybe, but yo, we see Armin flying. I'm thinking he's maybe flying to New York, maybe even flying to where Michael lives, maybe stays, maybe going there. But he seems to be in the sky, so it's not truly direct where he is going, but he seems to be in the sky. Then we get a pan up to Michael punching a criminal. Now, if you look at the criminal, we only get a small type glimpse of the criminal. The criminal is wearing a bomber jacket, brown bomber jacket, a yellow, and a type of beige mask. Now, when I first saw this, I really think that this is maybe some type of Fisk person or something like that, or also it could be maybe Herman Schultz, and maybe this is the first encounter between that. It says he's not Shocker yet, and maybe Shocker will appear later on in this movie. He'll come back, and it will also kind of be continue that type of thing of this maybe the forming of the Sinister Six in this movie, because Michael probably does have a bounty on his head. I'm gonna say it was probably put up by J. Jonah Jameson, or even put up by Oscorp. So, looking from that, then we get a cut to what looks to be the inside of a bank and a robbery going on. Now, we see that Michael is fighting what looks to be some robbers in masks. Now, there's some digging. I was able to find some things about this because it's obviously intrigued me about why he was fighting these. So, what I found from this was that I did find a group that is tied with kind of clownery, kind of having a clown kind of mask, face paint, and is the Black Delilahs. The only thing about this is it's mainly a girl group. Now I'm wondering, because this it does seem to have like, maybe it seems in terms of how it looks in the trailer, it seems to be actually flipped. So maybe it's not the Black Delilahs in this, maybe it's something else. But I think it could be them, since they both have the clown aesthetic. And not only that, but I just really think that this is because the whole point is to basically take back the streets from women and girls. But I think in this it can maybe be their kind of motive can be take back the streets from the heroes and from people like Spider-Man. So even more people for Michael to have to deal with after the consequences. So this can maybe be another driving force known as the consequence that, he has to face through this movie. Then we see one of them running away and they get shot by an unknown sniper bullet. Now, we get a zoom in the sniper, and then we see what seems to be a white paint on a vest, on a black vest, and it seems to make the marked skull. Then we see Michael dashing over Carp. Then we see him fighting the figure, and we see the skull, and this is obviously Punisher. Now, this I think just confirms a lot of stuff. I think it confirms that Michael is gonna have to deal with being chased, like I said earlier, and he's also gonna be hunted. So he's basically being hunted by everybody. At least the people that, are still on his side. But he's being hunted by the guy he was fighting in the second trailer, which could either be Kraven the Hunter or Taskmaster. I'm pretty potent now on just going with Kraven the Hunter, because that knife looks like Kraven's knife, and I think that since Kraven is strong enough to fight Spider-Man, even without like some type of drugs or addition to his like strength, I think it is Kraven the Hunter. So he's being hunted by Kraven the Hunter and Punisher, and I think Punisher's going after him because of the explosion. Basically, kind of like that's a non-heroic act. People died because of it. You let people die. You have vengeance that needs to be done on you. Their lives must be paid for what you did to them, and that kind of thing. So it's going to be like a type of I think, a battle between different ideologies in this movie, along with Punisher, and this may also be now going back to the Civil War thing with Iron Man and everything. In the comics, Punisher was on the side of Captain America. Punisher had found Spider-Man beaten and trained because Peter had got into an argument with Tony, and Tony beat him up, and he was left at the train station or subway. So, um, um, Frank found him. He brought him back to Team Cap's base, and that's where Peter switched over. I think maybe after this movie, if we do get a Civil War in this franchise, I think that same thing will happen since they already had that interaction in this movie. And not only that, but but this is the first time we're seeing Punisher in this universe. And if we go back to Punisher's first appearance, his first appearance ever was he first appeared in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man issue 129 as a hired hitman. So, he was a hired hitman. That obviously drives into what we have here with the hired hitman, with Michael may have a bounty on his head because of what happened. So, obviously, I think Frank is chasing after him because of that. So, I think this is a reference to that, and this may be a play on the first appearance of that. Now, in this comic that I think because I found it. Now, in this, the issue the issue gets settled between their kind of fight, but yeah, when Punisher first appears, he was a Spider-Man type of foe slash villain. He was a hired hitman. So this probably is a reference to that, and probably is going to be taking inspiration from that storyline, but kind of mixing it up to like kind of fit with what they have established in this universe. So I think that's kind of neat and kind of cool that they're doing that. Um, they're paying homage to these beginnings of these characters in Spider-Man comics, and they're kind of twisting them on their head and just using them in this type of way. I think it's really creative whenever someone does that. So, but yeah, I think that they will take inspiration from this storyline that happened when Punisher was introduced. And not only with that, I think there's a lot of reason for it. But we do see him kind of get a few slices on Michael, which may be a reason why we see, if we go back to the second trailer, we saw a figure kind of getting ready to jump with some type of like hoodie and black jeans. That could be Michael having to start back to basics after this fight with Punisher since his suit got damaged. But this may be the opening, or this also may be the kind of the like first how do you say it, 20 minutes. Then after that we kind of get a reference, I'd say a pretty big reference to after Peter kind of in the Amazing Spider-Man 1, when Peter's identity was kind of figured out to Captain Stacy, and we was about to be figured out. But there is this light shining on him, and it's basically the same thing that's in the trailer, but you see this close-up of his face, and he starts running, he jumps, and then he gets shot. He gets shot by a trink, and he falls down. Oh yeah, spoilers if you haven't watched that. I don't know how you haven't watched that, but yeah, spoilers. But he gets shot down, and he the swarm of cops surround him, and then his identity gets revealed to Captain Stacy. Now, we haven't really gotten introduced to that, so I don't know if that same thing will happen, or if it will be with a different character. Maybe, or maybe it's just that was a reference to that type of thing without the whole shrink thing. But there also is the fact that Lizard is in this movie and may or may not be a villain or a foe, but I think since this is the first time Lizard's being introduced, I think he will be a villain. So, from this list, we basically have, going back to our Sinister Six thing, we have Electro. We have what maybe could be Shocker returning. We have the mercenary from the second trailer, which I think is a mercenary. We have Frank, and we have Kurt Connors. That is five people. And we also got a showcase of Venom. That is six. That makes a full six. That makes a full Sinister Six for Michael. Now, what we could do from this is we could take away that I think that Frank will go away as one of the members of the Sinister Six after this movie, because I think maybe they'll come up with their differences. I don't know about the other. I don't know about the other four. Shocker, probably not. Electro, probably not. Kirk Connors, he's kind of an off and on one. So I say you could pull him down two. So you might, after this movie, we might only have um maybe only three members left of the Sinister Six, and they may have to find new members. Now, I know for a fact that probably Punisher. I feel like Punisher's gonna go away as one of kind of like a foe, as like a kind of Sinister Six type of thing. Kirk Connors, that's what to be decided, since Lizard is like an off and on ally to the Sinister Six. So it's a if, it's kind of a so it's kind of an put down. So we know for a fact that one character will go away, but we know that there may be at least four members. Well, five. Forgot Venom. That five of them will stay, but I feel like Punisher will obviously go away, as he can be, so he can be an ally in future movies. Then we get a shot of Michael swinging around the city. I think he's swinging away from somebody. Then we get cut back to the first scene of the trailer, a kind of continuation of that, and Michael jumps off the building, and he's falling down, and you see him shoot a web onto another building, and he's swinging off. Then he's running, and I think he grabs into a car. So behind the car, you can see police lights. You can see police lights. This could be the beginning of a car chase. This could be the beginning of a car chase. Maybe this is the first action scene of trailer, the movie. Let me get a little quick cut to Michael swing running on a wall. Then we see Miles putting on his suit, and you can see Miles. You can see what looks to be a black kid, so you can see him put on the mask. So I think for a fact this is Miles. He even has the suit. It kind of looks to be like his kind of suit from the video game. Then we get a cut of Michael jumping off a building and swinging up, and it's just swinging around. So this maybe could also be a continuation of, like I brought up earlier, with the kind of reference to the beginning of Amazing Spider-Man 2. It could maybe be a continuation to that, which that could also be the opening scene. And yeah, but that is the end of that trailer. Then we get a little post kind of trailer credit scene where we see kind of what could be the symbiote forming, and I think it is the symbiote. Flea is the symbiote forming around Michael's hand, or forming around somebody's hand. I'm gonna assume this is Michael, just because usually whenever the symbiote is introduced, it goes to Spider-Man first, then it goes to Venom. So this could be either Michael getting it formed around his hand, or it could be whoever's going to be Venom getting the symbiote formed around them and becoming a part of them. But I think this is Michael kind of getting introduced to the symbiote in his life. But that is what I have gathered and what I have, what I found in the trailer through my digging. And that's basically all you could have missed if you just watched the trailer, normally. If you didn't, didn't examine like I did it. But, yeah, that's what I found, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Had a really great time making this, and when the final trailer drops, I'll obviously do this again, and we'll see what we can find in there. But yeah, and remember, I take these theories and take these type of stuff with some, at least a bit of seriousness in it, seriousness, and or at least a bit of like, this could maybe actually be true, in case it does happen. So it's kind of like a bit of pseudo spoilers. If what I'm saying it does happen, and it is correct. I'm sorry. But yeah, anyway, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you enjoyed watching this and listening to this, and, bye.